Hi everyone, welcome to another Mystery Monday. Today will be the part 3 of my Goodreads prediction series, and I'll be trying to guess some titles that might make it to both the YA list and the YA fantasy list of best books of 2021. Take 5. Hey, so if you're not very familiar with the series, I'll link the video up here and on the description box, and you can just go ahead and get familiar with my vision for it, where basically it's a fun game I'm playing with myself, trying to guess what books might make to the 2021 Goodreads Best Books list. I've done horror and thriller, and those are the genres I read the most, and the videos will also be linked down below. Today, because YA has a lot of horror and a lot of thriller, I'm dedicating this video just to my YA predictions in both categories, YA and YA fantasy. Then everything else will be like a miscellaneous video that will close the series. For the books that I have already talked, you can check my Goodreads. I have a Goodreads 2021 prediction list, and all the books are linked there, so you can check them more for yourself. I'll try to be short and sweet here. Will I manage it? Who knows? But I don't have as many books as thrillers, for sure. And some of them I have talked about before, so I'll try to be as brief as possible. And if I've talked about a book, I'll link on the description box where you can find my more in-depth synopsis. I'll start with a book that was just released 2 weeks ago, As Good as Dead by Holly Jackson. I really love the Good Girl's Guide to Murder series, and this is the third one. And again, we have Pip, who's kind of like a cold case prodigy. She tries to find justice when she thinks that the cops messed up, basically. So therefore, the cops don't like her a lot. So when she gets hate mail, she brushes it all off until she gets this one message that says, "Who will look for you when you're the one that disappears?" Well, something tingles her senses, and she knows this person is meaning something. And then she starts putting 2 and 2 together and being more aware of her surroundings. She's pretty sure this person is also stalking her. The cops, like I said, don't like her very much. So they think she's just looking for attention, basically. So instead of planning her life ahead and be packing to move to her first year of university, she's trying to solve a case, especially when she suspects that a serial killer that haunted the town 7 years prior or something like that is connected with the stalker, which means that probably the guy that went to jail for that is not a real killer. Can she find him before he finds her? That's what we're gonna find out when this book is published in North America, September 28th, so next month. Not bad. Next on my list, I have Pride and Premeditation by Terza Price. I hope I'm saying your name wrong. Not that you're watching this video, Terza, but oh well. Anyway, so this is a YA, and it's a bit on the romantic side, but I picked it up because Pride and Prejudice is one of my favorite books of all time. I love Jane Austen. And this seemed to be like a really cheeky and fresh take on it, because like something tells me that adding murder and mystery to Pride and Prejudice would be a good choice. So I picked this book, and it was delightful. In it, we follow Lizzie, who's like a feminist extraordinaire in the making before feminism was a thing, and she doesn't understand women have no rights to be in the courtroom other than as witnesses. And her father owns a law firm, and she's determined to change that. And then there's this murder that happens and shakes the whole high society of London. And she thinks this is her chance to prove herself, solve the murder, release the guy who were arrested, whom she thinks is innocent. But here's the kicker, of course. As she approaches this guy in jail, he tells her that he's already being represented by no other than the Pemberley and Associates, fronted this time by the heir to the firm, Mr. Fitzwilliam Darcy. So you guys know how it goes. It's enemies to lovers, but do they work together? Are they going to solve the crime? Is she ready? Can she move up in the London legal system? Who knows? Read the book and find out. But it was like really delightful, and I think it's such a fresh take on a lovely classic that I would be surprised or disappointed if it doesn't make it to the YA list. So next I have Ace of Spades by Farida Abike-Yimade. I hope I'm saying this name again somewhat right. But in it, we follow Chiamaka and Devon. Chiamaka is this wealthy biracial girl. Devon is this black scholarship boy, and they both attend the prestigious Nevia's Academy. Their life has been great, and they're walking on sunshine, and their senior year starts, they're thinking about future in university, and then all of a sudden everything goes to shit because there's this cyber bully called Ace of Spades that starts to send them messages, threatening to expose their secrets, and the messages become more and more menacing. And their life goes downhill really fast and things escalate. And this is an amazing, crazy ride. Why a 2021 best list without this book will make me angry. Let's just say it like that. Next, I have You Be the Death of Me by Karen M. McManus. And in here we have Ivy, Mateo, and Cal, okay? 3 kids, they go to the same high school. They love life. They used to be besties, but life made them grow apart. And then, each has their own separate way. And then we have this one day. Ivy just lost, student council election to the class clown. She's furious. She's fuming. Then we have Mateo, whose family just lost everything, and he's been having to work 2 jobs just to help his parents make ends meet. He is burned out. He can't deal with anything anymore. He's on the verge of a breakdown or something. And Kyle, he couldn't care less about school. He's always late. He goes meh. This day is no difference. He starts walking down the halls and he was like, I'm not feeling being here. And then he sees Ivy and Mateo, and on their faces is they're not feeling being in school anymore. And somehow they decide to just ditch. It was a perfect ditch day. So they was maybe it'll be old times. Maybe, it's going to be a good thing. They tell themselves, right? They enter the car and it was driving. And then all of a sudden things get awkward. You can literally hear crickets because they have nothing else in common anymore. So they go look around, and then they see this other guy from their school who's ditching as well because they have nothing better to do. They follow this guy. But when they start following him, they didn't realize they were actually following him to the scene of his own murder. Oops. And of course, this is a book, and from there, everything is going to go downhill really fast. It will soon become clear that each one of these 3 people have somewhat a connection to this guy. All of them are hiding something they don't want the others or anyone else to find out. And more importantly, the reader will wonder, was this meeting and ditching by chance? Or design. Woo. So, that was it. It sounds good, right? The next I have The Hawthorne Legacy by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I read The Inheritance Game, and it was such a fun mystery book. It's fast-paced, and it's the one book so far that I've read that I wasn't mad because it has this plus device that I really hate, which is to carry on mysteries from one book to the other. I hate cliffhangers. Even though a lot of things were solved in this one, which satisfied me, I liked the characters enough to invest in their journey. And I just read the Inheritance game, so I know the Hawthorne Legacy was coming out, so I didn't have to wait a long time. But I wasn't mad at it, so that tells you something. So in it, we have Avery, this girl, 16-year-old, who out of the blue is the sole heir to Tobias Hawthorne's legacy. He leaves everything to her, but he's a kicker. She never met him. And she doesn't know why he chose her. So part of it was answered on book one, but in the book one, we were led to believe by the cliffhanger that someone Avery knows might have a key to most of the answers she's looking for. So in this book, that's what we're gonna follow. In it, we have Tobias's grandboys, Grayson and Jameson. They will continue to help Avery in this journey. But another thing is as clear as the fact that she can count on those boys is that someone does not want her around, and they will stop at nothing to get rid of her. Next, we have the Mary Shelley Club by Godi Moldavsky. I did a vlog for this. I'll link it here. And in it, we follow Rachel. She had something really traumatic happen to her, and in search of a fresh start, her and her mom moved to the big city. And she starts attending this prestigious high school. Of course, she's not a rich girl, so she feels like a fish out of water. Things are not going on very well for her until she receives this summons, really. An invitation she can't refuse to be part of the Mary Shelley Club, which is basically an elite and secret club that each year members compete with each other to see who can pull the best pranks. And the rules are simple. Everyone must have one turn. The other members must help them with their prank. And the prank ends when their target screams. Everything starts as fun and games. Rachel's living, the fun life. But it soon becomes apparent that there is someone trying to out-prank them. And this person is willing to take things really far. Next, I have The Box in the Woods by Maureen Johnson. This is a book in the Truly Devious series, but it is a standalone. So I'm happy about that because, so far I've read Truly Devious and I want to continue with the series. But it's one of those that they solve some mysteries, but everything carries through. And I don't know, like 3 books is a long time to be committed to something. So I'm happy that Stevie and her gang are back because they are delightful. And I'm also happier this is actually a standalone. In it, we have Stevie. Seeing her again because she's a perfect blend of Nancy Drew and the most underrated of Agatha Christie's heroines, and Betty. So seeing her again, I'm so happy. But sadly for us, we find Stevie bored and murder hungry at home because, it's summertime. There's nothing going on around her. Then the owner of Sunny Pines is the answer to her prayers. He calls her up and says, "Hey girl, I own this camp. It's called Sunny Pines. It had another name, but we'll get to it later because there's a bad reputation on this camp because in 1978, 4 camp counselors were brutally murdered. I'm sure you heard of the Box in the Woods murders. Yeah, it happened here. But the killer was never caught, right? And, podcasts are really on right now. So I want to do a podcast about these murders. After all, I own this. I need your help because your reputation precedes you. Can you come? And, she's probably jumping up and down saying, yes, yes, yes. But she says, well, I'll only come if I can bring my whole gang with me. All her friends have like a specialty. They complement each other very nicely, and she misses them too. Like, it's like the Scooby Gang guys. They will not solve murders without the others. So the guy said, well, of course. Things go downhill fast, obviously, because probably the killer is still around in town and he's not happy that, his dirt is being dug up again. The real question is TV actually going to survive this time? Who knows? I hope so, because I'm here for more of her standalones. Okay, that was it for my YA predictions. Like I said, I don't read many of them, as you can notice. Those were all mysteries or YA thrillers. So, yeah, not surprising, right? But anyway, so for YA fantasy, I have even fewer predictions. Next, we have A Lesson in Vengeance under YA fantasy. It's written by Victoria Lee, and it was just released August 3rd. I cannot wait to get the book on my hands. It should be coming to me when it's, shipped by Once Upon a Book Club. It is a dark academia book set in Dalloway School. And Dalloway has this reputation, even though staff discourages students talking about it, of being deeply connected with witchcraft. And there's an infamous case that no one's talked about of 5 students who were believed to be witches and all died really shortly after the other. That was years ago, boom, boom. Then we meet our girl Felicity, and she just lost her friend a year before the book starts. And she took a sabbatical. She went back home. She used to be interested in the occult, but decided to just quit a cold turkey, come back, finish her year strong. As she comes back, she meets new girl, Alice, who's now attending academy. She's this prodigy writer, bestseller at 17. And as soon as she hears about the Dalloway 5, she thinks that would be a great plot for her new book. And without giving Felicity much choice, Volume tells her to help digging up what really happened and do the research for her book, which means looking into the Dalloway 5. But as things happen, history starts repeating itself, people start dying. We ask, is Felicity really ready to face the darkness in the halls and within herself? The next one I have, The Devil Makes Three by Tori Bovalino. And so in it, we meet Taz. Taz is a girl that just wants 3 things in life: for her sister to be happy, for her to be left alone, and to practice her cello. But things doesn't really happen the way, because she's stuck at her school for the summer. And she's working both at the school's library and at a local pub, bar, or whatever. Highly annoyed by her entitled customers and patrons, especially boy Elliot, who is the entitled rich brick kid who keeps coming back, asking her to go to the forbidden session of the library and getting her grimoires after grimoires. He's obviously looking after something specific that he's sure is part of the school's collection. Eventually they find it. Probably due to their arrogance and carelessness, they just unleash a demon. Just a demon. And this demon, who was trapped in one of the grimoires, has decided that he will be trapped no more. And in order to achieve that, he has his eyes set on Tess. And he will stop at nothing to get what he wants and to use her to his advantage, whether, she's dead or alive. All he knows is he doesn't want to go back to the damn book. Next, in YA fantasy, I have The Gilded Ones. In this book, we follow 16-year-old Decca, and the book starts with her village's rite of passage. Every girl, when they reach 16, are made to bleed. If they bleed red, then they can live their normal lives because they are just human. But if they bleed gold, well, let's just say things went really well for her. Of course, Decca bleeds gold. And then she is put away almost in the village prison, where they're going to decide what her fate is, because there's actually a black market for such girls because they do have special powers. Only out of the blue, this crazy lady comes to her and suggests, hey girl, come, let's go to my camp. I have other girls like you. I might be lying, I might not be lying, but you know, you've already been killed 9 times and came back to life. That has to hurt. You know, at least I'm giving you the lesser of 2 evils. Take this gamble, you might even win. And of course she goes. And in it, we have this world building of warriors that have these special powers, and they're trying to fight patriarchy. But it's very gory. It's very gory, but it's also empowering. And I think I liked the world that was built. Can it be improved? Of course, but this is the first book in a series, so I'm looking forward to more. And I would be surprised if this one doesn't make the YA fantasy list. And last but not least, Witches Steeped in Gold. And are you ready to get to know the name serial killer, which is me, because there's 3 names, I'm guessing how to say it. This book is written by Shannon Smart, and in it we follow Elijah, I hope that's right, and Jasmine. They are strange bedfellows, okay? They are 2 witches who hate each other, but there's only one thing they hate more than each other, which is their common enemy. So they join forces in order to take that enemy down. But here's the thing, there's like a few facts in life, and one of them is that power corrupts, and the other one is that they have a reason for not liking each other. So can they really work together to the end until they reach that end goal? Or is one going to betray the other? Can they really trust? It sounds like a very interesting book, but the one thing that interests me the most is because this book promises an amazing cat and mouse game a la Killing Eve, but set in a completely new and original world. So I'm interested for the world building and for this cat and mouse game. It is Jamaican inspired, so no, I can't really go anywhere. I hope there's a lot of beaches that I can, you know, live vicarious through the book. And the cover is stunning. Like I had it, I got in my Our Crate box, and the cover is just stunning, 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 but it is also like a tome of a book, so I haven't read it yet. So that's it. These are my YA predictions. Hope you liked it. If you did, like, subscribe, do, you know, all those things, because it helps my channel grow, and also lets me know I'm on the right path. I'm very interested to know, do you read YA? What are your favorite YA subgenres? And is there any YA book that you hope to see on the list this year? As always, comment down below. I love exchanging ideas with you. And until next time, be the hummingbird. Bye.